Welcome to Meet Your Monsters. If the only kind of hooker you'll ever pick up is an Edgar Allan Poe, then this is the podcast for you.
That's my Halloween costume, damn it.
I stole that. Kathleen showed me last night some picture on the internet.
I've seen that. It's a
Yeah. So whoever put that up, I stole your joke. It's fucking awesome. My name is Abram Aiken. These are my friends.
Kathleen.
Matt.
Colby.
Sarah.
Derek.
For you at home, Meet Your Monsters is a podcast in which I show my friends horror movies that I love, and we find out if they love them too, or if they just think my taste in movies sucks. I'm very spitty tonight. I'm sounding like I got a lisp all of a sudden. Suffering succotash. Okay, this week's monstrosity is the 1999 movie Stir of Echoes, written by Richard Matheson and David Cope, and directed by David Cope. The film stars Kevin Bacon as Tom Witzke, Catherine Erb as Maggie, Zachary David Cope as Jake, and is that Ileana? Is that how you say that? Alina Douglas as Lisa? Yeah, pretty name.
Okay looking actress.
There seems to be a divide as to whether people find her attractive or
just
not.
She said she had a pretty name.
She can look very beautiful and then sometimes she's very striking, at least.
Big eyes.
I know on Cape Fear De Niro bit a big chunk out of her cheek and she didn't look so good then.
Yeah.
But it was a cool movie.
That will happen.
Okay, so we're in an effort to make this a good podcast. We're doing something a little different. With the Sinister synopsis, I have used the Blake Snyder beat sheet to kind of break up the movie. And so I figure what I'll do is I'll name each of the beats and I'll talk about what part of the movie I think that fits into, and then you guys can tell me if you agree or disagree, or if you like that part of the thing or not.
Please say you're going to rap it to a sick beat.
Yeah, I just want you to drop some beats.
Yeah. I might have Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting ahead of myself. I got all these papers. I'm not used to having so many notes. I guess then we'll just dive right in and follow us through the darkness of our wasted and festering memories as we struggle to recall the movie we just watched with this week's Sinister synopsis.
Awesome.
Live, bitches.
Yeah.
It's a new organ player, man.
We're moving on up to the 80s.
Synth pop.
Okay, so after being hypnotized by his sister-in-law, a man begins seeing haunting visions of a girl's ghost, and a mystery begins to unfold around her. I stole that right off the fucking IMDb page, but it was pretty good. That was pretty good stuff.
It's okay.
Who
if
would
it's good.
do that with anything?
Yeah. Okay, so this according to Blake Snyder, he classifies the movies a little bit different than just horror and action.
Would this be a monster in the house?
You would think, but I put it as dude with a problem.
Yeah, that's
What do you think?
Total dude with a
Because
problem.
you could say this could be monster in the house, and what that means is, there's something.
I think you're right, because in the beginning of the movie, they didn't talk about the monster in the house. They talked about all his problems.
Yeah.
And he went on solving them from there.
Yeah, and for the people that don't know the Blake Snyder's work, the monster in the house is the classic horror setup, and what this usually is people are isolated and something is picking them off.
Yeah.
That's usually how the monster in the house goes.
Jaws, aliens.
Yeah, dude with the problem is there's a dude with a problem, and I think this movie fits that category a little better than Monster in the House, because no one's really getting picked off in this movie.
She didn't have the power to hurt anybody, did she? No.
If she did, she wasn't.
Yeah.
She has the power to clearly communicate.
No,
Change the channel.
She did her damnedest to try and hurt the wife.
She did?
Yeah.
She
made her hit her head.
When?
Down in the crawl bit.
Oh, yeah, but I've done that too and blamed it on ghosts.
Okay, so the opening image is young Jake is sitting in the tub and he's talking to someone. And you get the impression that he's talking to his father, but as the scene unfolds, he's talking to someone who isn't there. The kid clearly has some sort of supernatural ability. He sees things,
The
or,
eye.
or he's crazy
Ooh,
as shit. Who
the
knows?
shit.
Okay. Now, I believe that the theme in this movie, the theme that's stated is when he... And I should say, too, that these aren't in order necessarily of the events in the movie. They're just in the order of the structure that he presented us in the book. So some of it's out of order, but, you know.
That's okay. You should see this movie.
Yeah,
anyway.
watch the movie. Okay, so the theme, I think, in the movie was he tells his wife that when he told her he was going to be a rock star, he wasn't just talking shit. Like, he didn't intend to be a lineman forever. And what he's essentially saying is that he's not feeling very important about himself.
If the one that got pregnant, then he could have been a rock star. I'm
Right,
assuming.
right.
I'm reading between a lot of lines, but
Come on.
Yeah, I remember, was it Senator Todd Aiken made a really good point. The woman's body does have the ability to shut that whole process down, and she didn't.
this will be Colby's last podcast because we will murder him after this.
She's got a knife. Okay, so the setup goes like this. Maggie's sister, Lisa, tells Tom that Maggie is pregnant. Tom is super bummed out, and the reason for that, Colby, you're looking perplexed.
Is there a Bart in this movie too?
No.
Maggie and Lisa. Is there a Homer?
That's one of the raping.
There is no bar.
songs.
Okay, so he's bummed because he wanted to be in a band. He's got ambition, and this kid is just another fucking cement
Dead weight.
shoe. As
Aww.
not to say that, you know, that's how they
Oh,
Is it-
what?
Semen shoe.
cement shoe.
Oh,
I heard Siemens too.
I was like, is that a thing that people call other people?
Maybe they're just semen shoes.
We were just talking about old time mafia stuff.
That would be a bummer though, if I'm your
That's
shoe.
Yeah.
I'd take that as a warning. It's like the horse in the bed. Godfather, you're like, oh god, no!
I'm
There's a
getting,
load in my boot.
I'll never walk again.
I'm getting off track here, but I'll tell you guys a story 'cause it's funny. Okay, so I was at this Christmas party when I was in high school, and this kid says, dude, wouldn't it be funny if I put fudge in this guy's shoe? And I was like, yes, we should totally put fudge in this guy's shoe. And then we laughed about it. And then the next day, my brother picked me up and we went to Arby's, and I noticed all this fudge seeping out of my shoe. I fudged my own shoe. I didn't even recognize it in the pile of
As long, I
shoes.
thought you were going to say that you thought fudge and he was saying crap.
No,
Okay.
They didn't swear back then.
no,
It's like,
Poked
oh,
in my own shoe.
it was Christmas fudge. It wasn't shit. Okay, so Tom is kind of bummed out. His wife's pregnant. They're hurting for cash. He doesn't have the free time that he wants. The catalyst starts when they're at a neighborhood party, and the sister Lisa hypnotizes Tom, and we don't see it, but they describe they've kind of made him do some weird things, and everybody's laughing at him. And before
Probably gave him tetanus too.
she might have gave him tetanus because she poked him with a needle. But
they're
bef-
from Boston. They don't care.
They're from
They're all,
Chicago.
oh, whatever. They live by the train tracks. It's okay.
that's true. They
They've
do
all
have,
been there.
Yeah, all tetanus. You're born with tetanus in Chicago.
It's true.
yeah, good old tetanus. Okay, so he she tells him before she's done that when he wakes up he'll have an open mind. Ooh, that's fucked up because now his mind is open to all kinds of things. Okay, so now this is where I was getting a little maybe off here. You guys can tell me if you think if this is right. The debate part of the movie is typically where the hero is saying like the refusal of the call to adventure. That's I don't want to do this, but there really doesn't seem to be one of those in this movie. So what I
thought
was
there
thinking.
was. When he went back and told her to fix his brain.
Right, but he was, and that could be it for sure. But that came so far later.
It was him mostly just trying to figure out what shoes. I guess that's the next step, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so I wrote that. Maggie is seeing her family falling apart. Her husband and her son are seeing ghosts and weird things that she doesn't see. And the sister tells her that it's kind of up to her to fix it. And so she takes off late at night to meet this weird dude, Neil.
That's a cop.
that they met in the cemetery.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Everybody in this group, at least, thought he was a rapist. He's probably a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Made up plans.
He was putting out the vibe. You don't act that way towards children.
You know, I was watching this other movie, like, and we're talking about like all brothers and sisters and families in movies. Like, it's really, really hard to like have the brother or sister, whatever, like any kind of way of liking anyone in a movie without it looking like you want to fuck them. Like, I
Yeah,
always feel
I
like
agree.
any family in a movie, like, those brother and sister, they're about to fuck.
Abe, you cringed. I think I cringed internally because I have never.
No, I completely get what Derek's saying. Because there's a boy and a girl, and they're in a situation where I was just like, yeah, they're gonna be romantically entangled. Same with like friends, like,
Yeah.
and it's I don't know why that is. Like, it's hard for me sometimes to buy like brother and sister. I'm like, I know you're not really related, but you're making out on the set, you know.
Like Shannon Doherty and Jason Priestley.
Yup. They don't even look alike. Come on, twins. I don't think so.
And I actually had just whacked my knee on the table.
But yeah, like
So I'm totally okay with
the
that.
one I just came to mind, that real famous movie with the brother and sister is Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Like, I never thought he wanted to fuck.
Well,
his
I'm not
sister.
saying I'm not saying every movie. I'm
What
just,
about Donnie
was
Darko, where they
pretty
really
nice.
were brother and sister?
And the whole time I was thinking, I think they bang.
Well, even
Jake's
because I
way
think
too
it's
hot
hard
for
if you're not a good as actor too to like show caring without it being romantic. Like, because I would just automatically
I
be
know.
like, I love you.
If,
That way.
They're
If
like,
I'm
put your top back on.
if I'm being honest, what I think it is, and I shouldn't talk shit because I'm not a millionaire screenwriter, but I think screenwriters really don't know how to make a brother and sister interact. The closest thing they can come is like flirting, so they kind of make it seem like they're flirting with each other. And
But,
it's just not very good writing, is what it is. They just don't
Yeah.
know how brother and sister talk to each other.
that's a tough one though, because it could be the performance. Because you could have a very stale scene written, and the actors could overdo it
That's true.
because they're attracted to each other. They don't really know each other.
you know, and I
The
think they're
director
trying
could be
to-
like faster, more intense.
Sometimes the key grip fucks up the lighting.
Makes it too
Lighting is
sexy.
key. Too sexy.
Well, we had this same kind of conversation during Lost Boys because you guys were saying that you thought the brothers were a little bit too intimate.
Yeah, no,
As
that's
to where
definitely true.
I
Not
thought
true.
with my brothers we joke around and wrestle. There's never any like finger banging or anything.
They weren't joking around wrestling. They were like snuggling.
Yeah, they were like, he was like
But
caressing
he
the
was
underside
so
of his chin.
it was sweet.
I don't. Yeah, see,
That's
Must have been written by a woman. Was that movie written by a woman?
I don't remember.
Oh,
That's-
women are the only ones who can write feelings.
Oh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like there were
They're
times
the only
like
ones that have feelings.
if I were like kicking my brother's ass, he would kiss me in order to make me escape because I'm like, ugh, and then
That's
then
a
he'd
good
run away.
move.
So I'm sure he stole it from Bugs Bunny because Bugs would do that all the time.
It's-
But so I'm saying it varies in the way.
yeah. I guess desperate times.
Yeah.
That episode's where we learned that Kobe, my brother was dying. I just gave him a cardiac handshake.
Agreed. It's nice knowing you.
Yeah. It's been a pleasure, sir.
I'll avenge you, probably.
Probably. Okay, let me get back on
Sorry.
track here. Okay, so she goes to see Neil, who seems to know a little bit about what's going on. He has told her to send her husband. She knows her husband won't go, so she talks to him herself. And what he tells her is that she has to find out what the spirit wants, and then do whatever its thing is. So the break into two for me was Jake is being babysat while the parents, Tom and Maggie, go off to this high school football game, because that's a big deal in Chicago, I guess.
It's a big deal here.
Yeah, I suppose.
I've never been.
College.
Yeah.
High school football games are pretty crowded.
And so the babysitter Debbie is hanging out, and she hears Jake talking to someone on the baby monitor, and she goes up to find out, and he says that he's talking to Samantha, and she grabs him and heads off out the door, snatches his little ass, and Tom at the game, or on his way to the game, is having these bad visions and feeling weird, and he gets the impression that she's taken him.
It's a flashing red light.
Yeah, and so he follows the clues and he finds her at the train station.
You know what was great about this movie was it kept leading you down these paths. You're like, okay, I see what's going on here. And then you're like, no, that's not at all what's going on here. Because that one, you're like, that bitch is trying to kidnap him. And then, like, she's actually kind of right. 'Cause she's like, this motherfucker says he saw my missing sister.
Yeah. So anyway, so he chases her to the train station, and finds out that she was taking the kid to his mother to try to get information about her missing sister. She shows Tom a picture of the sister, and sure enough, it's the same girl he's been having these weird visions about. And so we know they're connected. He doesn't know how. Okay, so here we get to the B story, and this is Tom's friends, his friend Frank and his landlord Harry are sort of living vicariously through their sons Adam and Kurt, and they're like, oh, they play lots of football, they bang sexy chicks, and they're
Reminds me of me. When I played Pee-wee football when I was 10.
Hindsight, that is so awful. Because he knew that he's like raping chicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah,
He
he's like
rapes only the
crushing that
hottest.
pussy.
Retarded girls.
Literally.
Yeah, he's just
Literally
But
tearing her up.
they seem to be over reveling in their kids' youth, which isn't unexpected for a father, I would think, having no children of my own. You find out later exactly why. Okay, so the fun and games portion of this comes in is Samantha, the ghost, is growing more and more steadily upset because no one is making any progress on the thing that she wants, which we don't really know what she wants just yet. And so she goes full haunted house. She's turning the channels. She makes the bath water cold. She turns off the lights in the basement. Like, this is the ooh, it gives you the willies sort of part of the movie. And then here at the midpoint is when Tom asks the sister to hypnotize him to try to fix whatever she fucked up. And so she tries, and in the vision that he's having through his hypnosis, Samantha appears to him and says, dig. And that's his task. He must dig. And he does. He digs.
Be more
Can you dig
specific.
But where?
Can you dig it?
Watch the Warriors.
Which he doesn't actually need to dig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Fucked up.
It was a cryptic clue, but yeah,
He
he
should have said chisel.
Yeah.
he dug
Go
the yard, he
downstairs.
dug up the floorboards, he dug up the basement with a jackhammer.
Maybe she just wanted to mess with that guy's house, which justifiably,
Yeah,
the guy
yeah.
who owned it.
Maybe.
I think she's just like a moody teenager though. Like clearly
Yeah.
something's wrong, but they're just like, I don't
Well,
want to
wasn't
talk
Ken
about
just
it.
moves away at the end. You don't see him fixing
Yeah, no,
anything.
Okay, so during all this madness, Maggie gets a phone call that her grandma's died, and she's expecting them to all go for the funeral. Tom is like, nope, I got some digging to do. So they have a
Plus,
big
he
fight.
already knew.
So her and Jake take off to visit the folks and grandma's funeral, and he stays and keeps on digging and destroying the house. The all is lost moment comes when in his madness he's like alienated his family, he's used up all his sick days and destroyed the house that they rent, and the neighbors are starting to pay attention to all the weird clanking and jackhammering and shit, and calls his wife. He's kind of, he's running out of oomph with this task, and she tells him she's going to come and pick him up, and just about then he accidentally crashes through the wall and finds the corpse of Samantha.
Of the weakest bricks ever. It's just
They
like,
were in a hurry. They
Paper
fucking murdered
mache.
somebody. You got time to lay down.
Yeah,
Proper mortar.
He did own the house though. I mean, he had time.
yeah, he could
Could
have
have
just
not used the paper mache.
Move the body.
Yeah. So he finds this corpse. When he touches it, he has a vision of exactly what happened. And what happened was the awesome teenage kids, Kurt and Adam, tried to rape the girl and accidentally killed her because she was screaming, and they stuffed some plastic over her mouth and she suffocated. Because they can't seem to work that out logically. Okay, so Tom goes to get Frank, and he shows him what happened, and he tells him, I think I know why your son tried to shoot himself. And he finds out that Frank and Harry both were in on it. The kids told him what they did, and they covered it up by burying her ass in the wall. Frank pulls out a gun, and he tells Tom to leave. Tom leaves, which you do.
Yeah.
Like you do.
And you hear this.
Booked it out of the basement.
We break into the third act here. Before Tom can call the police, there's a knock on the door. It's, of course, Harry and Kurt, who have come over, concerned by all the racket. Harry pulls a gun, and it's pretty obvious they're going to kill old Tom there. When Maggie shows up to pick him up and kind of distracts them, She goes into the house and they have a big fight, and then old Frank comes up from the cellar, having not killed himself, and kills Kurt and Harry.
Why did he shoot the gun then?
So I was about to say,
I think I
makes
get
me
it.
wonder what he shot.
Well, think
He was
about
like,
it.
"Whoa."
Like this is hands down the most stressful situation of his life. It was more stress he's ever been, and he shot at him to make it like to scare him out of the basement.
Anyway, he tells Tom and Maggie that they covered up for their kids because they didn't want to. The deed was done. They didn't want their kids to have to go to jail forever for
being
something
horrible
that
human beings.
for something that they attributed to as an accident.
You go to jail for
rape
being
was bad
criminals.
Yeah. And he couldn't live with the guilt. He knew that they wanted to murder him, and he just couldn't let that stand because it was a decent neighborhood. The final image of this scene is sort of a bookend to the first image. The Witzke family is moving to a new place. You see them driving through the new neighborhood in the car. Jake's in the back, and he's hearing all the voices of the ghosts in the neighborhood, and you get the sense that even though they've been through all this ordeal, nothing's ever going to change. There's plenty more where that came from, and that's the end.
And didn't they say she was mentally handicapped?
Yeah.
8-year-old.
That guy called her a retard, which I think we're starting to learn now that all the people in movies we thought were retarded are actually autistic. Exactly, what seemed autistic.
You just never go full retard.
So what did you guys think of this movie?
That was great.
Enjoyed it.
That's all right.
It wasn't my favorite, but
Like I said, I enjoyed it a lot because I thought it was Sixth Sense without all the crying.
Yeah, I'm being a little bitch about it.
Because, and have you noticed, ever since The Sixth Sense, the rate of people crying in M. Night Shyamalan movies has just shot through the fucking roof.
Oh,
Everybody's just
I don't
bawling
watch those movies
constantly.
anymore.
after the villain.
Unbreakable, they are just crying that entire movie.
Unbreakable was
please.
before, and that was an amazing
you're
movie.
a goddamn superhero.
Yeah,
like gonna be a fucking
And then,
pussy about
when
it.
that's the scene that stuck out to me is when, they saw the newspaper article, he looked at his dad, they both realized it was him that, saved the people, and they're both like, I've been like, where'd it go, Dad? Fuck that guy up.
Just because you don't have emotions, Colby.
Yeah, right?
I would have to go the other way and say there's not enough crying in movies because
I agree.
people go through some crazy shit and they act like it doesn't faze them at all.
I cry twice a day at least.
I cry at movies where people should be crying.
Or previews.
Sobbing.
You wish, in Star Wars, you'd be like, Yoda, and you'd be like, I cried too.
I cried when the Ewok died.
I did too. That shit was sad.
Oh yeah, that when they're
Crushed me.
poking his body. Oh god, that was terrible.
The thing I didn't like about this movie is it did the whole people don't see ghosts because they're not open to them thing, which I hate that because I feel like if I were not to be open to a kick in the nuts hurting, it'd still hurt pretty bad, even if I wasn't open to it. The idea of it hurting.
If you could convince yourself it didn't, though, you can control your pain.
I'm just saying though, and if I say I don't see trees anymore, I'm still gonna see those trees. I just ignore them.
I really liked what Neil was saying when he was describing the gift. He said it's like walking through a dark tunnel with a flashlight. You see some things, you don't really know what they are. And he said, Jake had a much better flashlight because he could actually see what was going on. I thought that was a cool way to explain it because, occasionally you see some shit in the world and you go, I don't know what the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Might have been aliens, might have been ghosts, but
Still a great movie though.
yeah, neat way to describe it. Where I think the movie was weak was there was no transformation in the characters.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, they were all pretty much the same.
Well, they're back to loving each other again.
Yeah,
It seemed like Kevin Bacon was more manly than he was in the
And he was
first.
probably a rock star by the end.
but they never showed us exactly.
Like he was driving to a gig.
But they didn't show us that. They didn't show us any changes in the family dynamic. There was no character development because you didn't see anything afterwards.
I thought
Maybe
there was
the
character development in the main character. You saw him going from being just floating through life, going and getting drunk, to being he had a purpose now. He was,
Well, but here's the thing, though, is when he's accomplished that goal and he's back to his normal life, what has he gained? Is he a better man? They didn't show it. Is he a different man? They didn't show it. Did he go right back to the same old routine?
You didn't see anybody
They
like
didn't say.
thanking him for the family coming and thanking him for solving
Right, you
someone's
didn't-
murder or whatever.
You didn't see
Right.
anything. It was just like that.
He
was
probably
him.
is still gonna lose his job because he hasn't been there.
Right.
Like all his vacation.
Oh, you saw the murder?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
You're
cool.
rehired.
Whatever.
although he wouldn't have to pay for the house because the landlord got shot. So.
Yeah, they got at least 1 month free rent.
Like, I still live there.
Yeah.
I like to think that the wife will be less of a nagging twat.
Aw.
Well, that was the other guy's wife. We didn't see, or no, was it?
What?
Because wasn't that Frank's wife?
Who's Frank?
What?
The nagging wife wasn't
No,
that?
she was
No,
not.
that was
No.
Tom's wife. She's
But
fucking.
like
Oh,
when he
oh,
was
Oh.
Stop being
Oh.
crazy, honey.
when he was digging in the backyard and she was bitching at him, I was like, clearly he's.
Well, he wouldn't tell her why.
Yeah.
She knew why. She knew
Did
that
she
there was a
know
ghost.
why?
Yeah. She knew. Like, he predicted the mom's fucking death.
Oh, but that'd be like, man, yeah, she's old. Ooh.
He told her that the phone was about to ring and they're about to tell her that her grandma or mom or whatever the hell died. And she's still like, oh, stop digging up the thing.
No.
Like, oh, Tom. Like, you fucking let him do his thing. Like, you
Dig up the
know.
yard.
You know
I
there's a
get mad when
goddamn
the dogs
ghost.
put like a small hole in the backyard.
But
like,
if you
ghost.
fucking.
If they dug up the whole thing, I'd be...
But if you knew he was psychic and he was trying to find a body, like,
Yeah, but he never did he ever tell her that? Like directly, hey.
It didn't seem
Yeah.
I'm
explicit.
Yeah,
gonna
she
need-
didn't know why he
I'm
was
gonna need
digging.
direct, like, I don't pick up vibes very well. You knew my grandma was gonna die, I would ignore that. You have to tell me directly, I see ghosts, there's ghosts in this backyard. I'm like,
I mean, he
All
kind of
right.
did though. And I mean, if I had evidence that my wife was seeing ghosts, I'd be like, all right, do whatever the hell you need to do. Like,
well,
But
we
she
need
was
to-
worried about him, and that's how she was
Yeah.
expressing that worry.
which is another thing that I hate in movies is like, yeah, okay, you get that she's like trying to, like she's trying to hold the family together. Well, like, can't you make it any other way besides her being a nagging fucking twat all of the time?
But she was proactive. Like, she went and sought out Neil in a dark alley. She was
Yeah.
trying to, like, find a
Oh, yeah,
find
so
a
I guess she
solution.
did know.
Well,
There's
but that
something.
though lends itself to like stop bitching because clearly he was contacted
Yeah, she had
by
that
a
evidence
ghost,
too.
and he's been put on a mission.
But I think anytime someone in your life isn't being rational, it's got to be frustrating. You want to scream at them. Even if you know this, I mean, if you know your friend's a drug addict,
true.
you still are like, quit being a fuck up. Jesus Christ, you
That's
know.
what drugs.
You know. So I think it was a genuine.
The other problem I have with these type of movies is ghosts are kind of asswipes in them, because couldn't you have just said, "Hey, my body's in that wall."
Yeah,
why
I mean,
why like appear as like just walking downstairs? Why make the bath cold? Just say, "This wall right here, knock it down. I'm behind there."
she could talk so clearly to
Problem
the child. Why can't you tell the child?
And that plus like
Tell your dad to fucking knock down
she's
that wall.
she's going around turning off lights, making baths cold, doing all this shit like.
Well, that's
And then the guy
hilarious.
who spent all his time finding her fucking body, giving her peace, is about to get killed. And she doesn't do a fucking thing.
Yeah,
Doesn't
she-
do a fucking thing. Doesn't turn on a light, make
But
it hard for him to
she-
aim his gun. Nothing.
She wasn't the bravest though.
Huh? She can make a bath cold and make it so TVs
That's
can't
like
shut
as
off.
soon as you're Gucci.
Anybody could do that.
That's
She
like,
unplugged the TV, and then or he unplugged the TV and it still stayed on. What was that? Dawn of the Dead? Night of the Dead? What was that?
Something.
Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, Night of the Living Dead. And like she can't even just be like, "Spooky, watch this TV turn on. Run, motherfucker!"
Okay. For each
He needs
movie,
'em.
Kathleen digs through the dirt and slime of the filthy internet to bring us this week's terrifying trivia.
You're fighting right. All right. The hypnosis sequence in which Tom is hypnotized for the first time follows actual hypnosis techniques, and to ensure that the audience hasn't been put to sleep, some susceptible people have been, they added a musical accent to keep everyone awake.
Interesting.
Like
I
the
don't-
kicks in Inception.
If we're gonna,
All right. We mentioned this earlier. During the hypnosis scene, there is a safety pin being stuck through Tom's hand. And this was not a special effect. They actually paid a stuntman to really stick it through his hand.
Can you imagine?
Nice.
it doesn't hurt that bad.
Yeah, I've
we
done
used
it
to
before, actually.
like to freak kids out when I was in elementary school. I'd take a stapler and put a staple in my arm because it doesn't. You barely feel it. And people would be like, "Holy shit, you just stapled his arm!" I'm like, "Yeah, crazy, right?" But really, it
I thought that's
doesn't hurt all
staple
that bad.
gun.
Huh?
I thought that's staple gun.
Well, that's a different story.
All right. And the scene where Tom is digging in the back and then he has this fight with his wife and then he walks and he kicks that bucket and it breaks the window. That really happened. Wasn't planned. It was just like a happy accident. But since he stayed in character, they used it in the movie.
I was
I
fucking
was-
awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna say where you said this movie was weak in points, where it was strong in points was that it had Kevin Bacon in it.
Yeah,
He's
Eddie-
a pretty good actor.
and I said this while we were watching the movie, but I'd like to reiterate. I really appreciate that they let him drink a lot in the movie because he does look thirsty to me.
He looks so just, yeah.
Like he just
You
needs
mean
about a
ripped.
gallon more.
That's true.
Also,
You gotta be
with the,
dehydrated to show that much ab.
with the haircut he had in this movie and the facial hair, I seriously thought like a lot of times it's like you could switch out Ethan Hawke right now and you'd never know the difference.
You would, because all of a sudden things would get sad and whiny.
You get all your M. Night Shyamalan crying you didn't want.
And then the last one, there is a sequel to this movie called Stir of Echoes: The Homecoming, starring Rob Lowe and Tom's son Jake, played by Zachary David Cope, is the only one to make a brief cameo. Well, they're not actually tied together.
It didn't sound. I read it on IMDb. It
Yeah.
sounded like a really weird. Was there a soldier or something?
Yeah, it was like PT.
SD.
S. The other day I was like, the words don't line up. Post-traumatic stress. And they're like, it's not dramatic.
Stop being so dramatic.
I told her that was the high school version.
Dude, no kidding.
PTSD. It is time once again to meet your monster.
I love the walkers. The monster is a ghost.
The end.
Yes.
You can just shut it down right now. People got what they came
Ghost
for.
and horrible and teenage boys. Pretty much. Teenage boys are horrible.
They really are monsters.
Sons of
They're
bitches.
monsters. And
Yeah, I was wondering how you're gonna do that because the ghost technically wasn't the monster.
yeah, it
the,
wasn't.
The
Yeah.
monster was the kids and their shitty
Man
parents.
was the monster the
Yeah.
whole time. Yeah, it was the shitty parents and
This movie's just like Avatar.
It's exactly like Avatar California.
Avatar, I mean, in their defense, Avatar is like 1,000 other movies, though, so.
really, it was society's pressure on boys and what they're expected to do, and no, they're
Rape.
just-
We do have a lot of pressure
I
on
didn't
rape.
do.
I'm
So
glad.
take that, society.
Here on Meet Your Monsters, we like to examine all forms of depravity, and so now for the mathematically perverted, the Colby Count.
Okay. So this movie had 3 bodies. Half of us claimed to have seen half a nipple in the sex
Oh,
scene.
totally. Yeah, there was half a nipple.
Wasn't a whole lot of,
Sexy too.
Death in this movie.
yeah.
I'm okay with
Just
that.
the one.
It's good to have a lot of bodies in some movies. Good to keep it low in some other movies.
Yeah.
This is one we don't really need to see a lot of boobs in, probably.
What it hurt.
But it would have been.
It's always room for boobs.
Okay, that should be on our t-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, the films we discuss on
Jello.
this podcast are horrifying, but sometimes real life events... Oh, real life is even more fucked up. Brace yourself for the nefarious news.
Really got the sound effect game locked down, man.
That's right.
Killing it.
So this story comes, doesn't come from anywhere. The internet's. It's about the Greenbrier ghost. It's about a young woman who was murdered in 1897. She was married to a drifter named Shue, Edward Shue. She was found laying on her stairs, dead, hand across her stomach. Doctor came in to check the body, but her husband had already dressed her, was holding her in his lap, and he wouldn't let her really look at the doctor look at the body, and he was just crying so hard and so upset. The doctor was like, "Okay, that's cool," and blamed it on childbirth, but there was no proof that she was pregnant, and so he had seen her for woman problems, they call it. So he just assumed she was having a baby. I have no idea. So she died. Her mother says that she had a dream 4 weeks after the funeral. The girl that got murdered's name was Zana. Zana said her husband was a cruel man who abused her and got mad at her one night after he thought she had cooked no meat for dinner, broke her neck, and threw her down the stairs. And
Well, no meat at all.
Right?
huh? Yeah. It's like, hold on.
Hey, you want to take that extreme?
And the ghost showed her this by turning her head completely around. So that's what her mother said. So they had the body exhumed. They found out because when she was buried, she had a really high neck dress on, and so they found a bunch of bruising on her neck. Her larynx was crushed. It had indeed been broken, so he was convicted of murder.
That's crazy shit.
Yeah, that's crazy shit.
And she's never seen again. So her mom stuck to the story that it was the ghost that came and told her, but that's it. So she solved her own murder.
Nice.
No need for dinner.
And without any cryptic messages?
No, just
She just straight up told her, huh?
yeah. See,
She's just like, hey,
Oh, I
look at
thought she
this.
like the head
Yeah.
turn is what told her. I was like,
Yeah.
how did she get that from me?
Oh, so I see. The ghost can only do charades.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sounds
Samantha.
like
2 words.
bicycle. Kathleen, I don't know how I murdered you. I don't know.
I was going to do this for the movie, but it came out.
So yeah, this is a proof of the ghost actually communicates well. So real life, it's okay.
Yeah. Thank you, real life ghost.
Thanks, Zona. Zona. That's what I can name my kid. Okay,
Zona.
I'm gonna add that to the list of baby names.
Yeah.
What was the one we came up with last week? Jesus Thunder?
What was
Jesus
it?
Thunder, yeah.
Jesus Thunderstick or something? Christ Thunder.
Okay. Hours of effort and creativity go into making a movie, and there's always some asshole just waiting to shit on it. And so on behalf of the underappreciated horror filmmakers, we are here to take revenge with the critical critique.
So this critique was done by.
Sorry.
Wait,
I got really caught up in it.
do the sound effect. I like those.
All
Yeah,
right.
we'll just edit it.
God, they've all gone.
What is
Okay.
That was you, right?
That was me.
that? That's a you? You sound like you're
That's
in
a
a
you?
movie. That's a Mario.
All right, let's hear this.
Alright, so this is done by E Online. It doesn't really say who.
They are reputable.
I could
so
tell
I
you-
want to hear what they say about
I can already tell you what E! Online's problem with this movie was.
Not
Kim
enough tabs.
Kardashian wasn't in it.
Yeah.
They didn't have Miley
Zero
Cyrus.
Kardashians.
0 badge slip.
Oh, what these cock smokers said, dude.
Alright. So, with its jumpy manipulative shocks, the movie would be a hit in any other year, but coming on the heels of Sense, which they mean Sixth Sense, these echoes are faint at best.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I picked that one because I really hate it when they compare it to another movie that came out in the same year. Like, who gives a shit? Why would you take that into consideration when you're gauging your enjoyment of the movie?
Yeah.
Like, this would be so much better if I hadn't seen that other movie. Like,
But if you had to pick Kevin Bacon or Bruce Willis,
Okay.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis is a jerk.
Different times for different
In a
seasons.
movie or in real life?
Like, I don't think I would like Kevin Bacon in Die Hard.
Well, let's do
but
it.
would you like Bruce Willis in Footloose?
That would have been terrible. But let's do it this way then. Which do you prefer, Stir of Echoes or Sixth Sense?
Sixth Sense.
Sixth.
I gotta go Stir of Echoes on this one.
Really? There's too much feelings for you?
No, I don't think there's too much feelings. It's just that there's so many
Too much
parts.
Haley Joel.
Like, even at the end, it was still depressing. Like, their whole situation was just so depressing.
It was so
and when you go back
Like
and really look at the
war.
Sixth Sense, it's really stupid. Because why wouldn't you, like, nobody talks to him. Like, and he doesn't know, like,
Yeah.
he
That's
doesn't...
part of it, man.
How did he get inside
Like-
the little kid's house when he's sitting
Yes,
down with the
and-
Part
mom?
of it, man.
Why does he think his wife is such a fucking bitch that she's not going to talk to him for a month? Because he got shot, she's mad at him for getting shot, so she's not going to
And
talk to him for a month?
What were the chances that he walked in that room and went and sat down and started talking to the mom when she was sitting there too? Like, she didn't, like, get up halfway through
That's
and
how
have to
ghosties
whiz.
work.
I just picture him. He's like, man, ever since I got shot, everybody's been a real asshole.
Right?
Victim blaming.
Yeah,
Like, she didn't sit there and, like, pick her nose or anything. She was alone. She was probably flicking boogers. He's like, oh, you're a real weird lady.
and just like
Girls don't do that.
their whole situation where like they're just like poor and he's picked on, and it's just like I can see that in real life. I don't want to watch a
Yeah.
movie about it.
Man, you're some hating motherfucker.
Yeah,
That was a great
It
movie.
was
Yeah,
so
it was
good.
really
I remember seeing this with my
Bum the
sister
fuck
who was,
out.
I don't know, 9 maybe. And we get out, we watch it, and we go to the parking lot, and she goes, wait, he was dead the whole time? And I'm just like, oh my god, it was the best.
Okay, let's get meta about murder with Matt's themes and tropes.
There's the what's the worst that can happen trope right before it gets hypnotized. And, you know, this is always a cheeky wink to the audience, but it's also really lazy foreshadowing.
That's true. He did say that.
Yeah.
It's just gonna get really bad.
Oh, yeah, and I figured this is why I was going to bring up BuzzFeed. Like,
Wait, can I really quick tell
you had your chance.
Are you gonna try to figure out which character in the movie you are? Is that why you pulled up BuzzFeed?
No.
So you're gonna take a
No.
quiz on which character in the best
Oh, I
Michael
should,
Jordan?
yeah. No, I just kind of realized in my earlier tropes, I'm going to do something different for these, because earlier I was just saying, like, these are things that happened, and now I'm going to go into why these tropes happen in movies. And that's why I brought up BuzzFeed, because BuzzFeed is basically, hey, remember the 90s? And then there's, like, no
Set
editorial
tapes, guys.
whatsoever.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like,
and
yeah.
we do!
Yeah. That's why they're awful. And they also steal content from Cracked, so they're a bunch of assholes.
They sure do.
Cracked is amazing.
Yep.
Okay, do your thing.
Alright. There was that, and then there's the always classic bathroom mirror scare.
Ooh.
And this became popular because it's like a really creepy and easy way to show someone like sneaking up and just appearing without destroying the build up by like showing someone creep up on them. Like it just seems like they appear when they tilt the mirror back.
Like jumping scared.
Yeah, and it also kind of kills two birds with one stone because it's showing us that the protagonist is worn down and needs some kind of drugs out of a cabinet to deal with
true.
what's happening.
Do you like the fake ones where they like, close the mirror real quick and there's nothing there and the music goes.
And they open it and then they close it again.
Yeah.
And there's also the trope of the creepy kid who is way too calm for the situation and knows way too much about everything. The reason this kind of comes up a lot is that we kind of see kids as something innocent, but when the opposite turns out to be true, it's unsettling. Or at least this was an explanation that I read, but I have a different theory that goes way the opposite way, and that kids are just evil inherently. And we should be afraid of them because, you know, they're not born with empathy. That's something they have to learn. So, you know, if you don't have empathy, you're basically a serial killer anyway.
Basically, yeah.
So,
That's a first.
yeah. And you know, also Abe has a story too about when he was a serial killer kid.
Yeah.
And you stabbed
And you
your
didn't
mom.
know the difference between right and wrong, right?
I did stab my mother with a steak knife as a child.
man.
What?
This is only one time.
Yeah.
But it proves your point. You didn't know.
Yeah, you didn't realize that you can't do that.
He knew.
You didn't know that.
That's what you told us at work.
Well, what happens was I have the steak knife, I run up on her, I stab her in the leg, the blood shoots out, and I scream and ran away. And then later was when we had the big, like, movie violence talk. So yeah, it was
So-
definitely
Yeah.
like, the
Yeah,
stuff
you
in
have
the
to
movies
teach
is fake.
kids.
You have to
Yeah.
teach kids that other people feel things.
This is
Yeah.
bad. You don't want to
Jesus
hurt
Christ,
other
Dave.
people. What
His
if
mom's
learned
so
his
nice
lesson.
too. Just like,
we're gonna learn that he had like a
So here's
third
something.
brother. That he killed them both.
You're
That's
gonna
great.
mention the trope of that all black dudes have to shine?
Yep, I was gonna get
Oh,
to
sorry.
that.
I thought you were done.
Yeah,
No,
so
you
we
are.
have the wizened black man stereotype. I think your dog's a racist.
No, that stereotype pissed him off.
Yeah.
He was at
Black
it sounded
people
like-
are-
Stereotypes.
Is there a coyote back
she
there?
might
Although
be-
compared to older stereotypes of black people, it's pretty good.
Well,
We've come
this
a long
is
way in
this is
stereotypes.
actually like an over compensation for that. Like, okay, you know, we've been pretty shitty to black people. Let's give them some
Yeah, that was
superpowers.
the-
Well,
You,
and they only work to help.
Yeah,
white
exactly.
man,
They
you know?
only aid the white person. They're willing to make any sacrifice. They will die for the white man.
Okay,
I just
but
watched The
needed.
Shining last
Yeah, right.
night.
is it
Scatman.
is it really just two
Scatman
movies?
gets the axe.
No, it's tons of movies.
What other
Yeah,
movies?
that
and
Legend
The
of Bagger
Stand.
Vance.
Yeah.
The Stand. There was that wizened old black
Oh,
lady.
right,
who-
right.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Mother Abigail.
Yeah, Matrix.
The Matrix, yeah. Boy, you're right. Wow. There was a lot of those.
and it's
Ghost?
Yeah, you
Oh,
do.
shit.
yeah.
If we're gonna be
that
stereotypical,
one
let's
guy
at
who
least
played
give them
Candyman.
powers. You know, I appreciate it.
Boy, that's interesting.
Yeah, and I tried to figure out why this was a thing because it's a very specific trope that happens a lot, and the closest thing I got to an explanation is that somehow we associate them as closer to their roots and being more in tune with
Mysticism.
nature and mysticism, which can be racist in itself. Just
You know, it's funny you should say it though, because they say that if Africa was where evolution started,
Oh,
you
I
know,
guess
you
that's
could see
true.
that them being closer to that original.
If he has a bunch of white people, we shouldn't talk about it too much.
They don't know we're
But I
not.
think that's
We can talk about it. We're not being assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating.
And then there's also the nagging wife trope, which technically she was in the right throughout the whole movie. She was bringing up a lot of great points, but
Usually.
she was just kind of a bitch about it.
That
It
reminds me
keeps
of-
the movie like grounded, and it points out to the audience that the things that are happening aren't really normal.
I read an article once about that. It was about Breaking Bad. How everybody thought that, what was his wife's name?
Skylar.
Skylar. Everybody talked about what a bitch she was, but like this article was like, her husband's a fucking murderous meth dealer.
He was in the right.
Yeah,
That might be
Yes,
a
he
bit
was
stressful.
lovable, but also he was pretty.
those people are wrong. She was amazing.
Yeah, she
I ain't gonna
Everybody
for her. I
wants
was like,
this shit.
bitch, shut up and take the money.
Jesus. And for themes, the one theme that I got out of this movie is that every wrong has the potential to be righted and should be righted. And this is why it happens in movies all the time, because movies are the hyper-reality that we all wish for.
Mm-hmm.
And the movies that don't adhere to this are always depressing and usually not as popular.
And tend to win an Oscar.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're right though. If something happens and her killer just never got caught, it would just be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
Like you wish, like
That's
their girls could come back and
Yeah.
tell you who killed them and where their body is.
yeah. The real life endings are always just like, yeah, that would happen. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bummer. Okay.
You have no idea where the fuck her body is or who happened to her. Bummer.
It occurred to me you saying that about all those tropes. I have one of those kids in my comic.
A creepy kid?
Well, Peach, because she all these creepy things happen and it doesn't faze her at all. But the way that I always thought about it was that she's so sweet that she just doesn't imagine anybody doing anything bad.
The Ugly Tree available now.
Yeah.
Issue 2 coming soon.
Well done, well done.
Like it.
I forget the
Like it on
number.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Like Medium Roast or something. Follow us on Twitter.
And,
We probably are following you already.
I also put some pins on Pinterest.
Oh, we have pictures?
Not really.
Oh,
Some of his
shit.
artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Now the fun starts with everyone's favorite pieces and parts.
He was wearing a Social Distortion shirt, and they're one of my favorite bands. Woo!
oh, that's a real thing?
I found one of those
Yeah,
in my
they're good.
basement.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
there
you've
you go.
heard of them.
Have I?
I
Probably.
bet.
That ball and chain song?
Mike-
Yeah,
Sing
he
it
did
to me.
No.
I'll cue it up on Spotify.
They did the
That's
Johnny
what it
Cash
sounds
cover, Ring of Fire cover. Oh,
Yeah.
they're amazing.
Anywho, my favorite scene was he pulled his tooth out. I mean, it was my favorite scene that grossed me
Yeah.
the fuck out.
That was real good. I
Yeah.
really liked the theater when she was hypnotizing him. I thought that was awesome how they did that. Like how when she like, because it felt like it was real. Like how it would really happen in your mind. Like okay, picture theater. Like he pictures the theater, and then like now but then she's like, but it's all black, and it all turned black. I
Yeah.
thought that was cool.
The CGI for 1999 was pretty goddamn good.
I like when she was being killed and like broke her fingernail in half.
Oh, that's the
Knocked the
worst.
tooth
That is the
out.
freaking
Yeah.
worst.
Mm.
Fingernails coming off. Like even from what Silence of the Lambs, when you just see the fingernails in the wall and then in that pit, because you knew they popped off that way.
I liked all the parts with Kevin Bacon.
And when he doesn't wear a shirt.
Right.
Oh, I forgot that as part of the Colby count. We're gonna count all the Kevin Bacon ads we
Yeah.
saw.
There were
'cause
12 of
it
them.
was-
I think he had 16 abs.
Yeah.
You're going all the way up to his neck.
Something about Kevin Bacon. He looks like he weighs like 130 pounds, but could still whoop an ass.
He probably did
yeah.
that. He looks, yeah, so kind of strung
He should have
out.
been in Fight Club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd have been good.
Yeah.
Would have made more sense than Brad Pitt.
Oh, I don't mean instead of Brad Pitt. I just meant like in the actual.
No,
fight.
Brad Pitt made no
Shut
sense
your
in that role.
mouth, Colby.
They said, even said like in it, they go, men are not underwear models, and it's fucking Brad Pitt.
Yeah, but that Tyler Durden is everything that he wants to be, so why
And
wouldn't he be a perfect
Brad Pitt is
specimen?
literally only famous because he is attractive. He's got nothing
Oh,
else
wonderful
going on.
actor.
The fuck? You guys gotta show me some examples here, because
The Mexican.
He was good in Dracula. No.
Interview with the man.
Yes.
Interview with the Vampire, and it looks like his face is paralyzed the whole movie.
Because he's a vampire.
I
Yeah.
am very
He's not phased
sad.
by things anymore.
Yeah. What was your favorite
It's all
part,
old
man?
hat. Mine was the same as Derek's. The movie theater scene was really good.
A thing I didn't like was the crabby version of Painted Black that they played.
They should have played the real one.
It was,
you
it was
imagine
not
how
a good
much that
cover.
must
Like
have
that
cost?
song,
They
true,
probably
but that
couldn't
song is
afford the rights.
amazing. And that version was poop.
In closing, to feed the sun god with junk food movie dialogue, we offer unto you the Quetzalcoatl.
And for a little explanation of that sound effect, a Quetzalcoatl is a feathered serpent. So
Oh,
That's
I got
wings and
that.
hisses.
Okay,
I didn't know
yeah.
that. Cool.
Duh.
You at home now.
Did anybody get a quote?
When the kid said, "Does it hurt to be dead?" I thought that was kind of
Yeah.
dumb, but that was a quote.
That's really cool. I think at some point he said, "Buy me some orange juice" or something because he drank a lot of orange juice.
Why did he have so much orange juice in his
They never
thing?
I think he's just thirsty, so that's what he likes.
He just really liked
But he
orange
never
juice.
drank it, obviously, because he's all.
Mine was, "This is a decent neighborhood."
Oh, right.
I like.
That's the equivalent of that bitch dessert.
I liked when he said the flashlight metaphor. That was a good. That explained it, like you said.
Yeah.
At least made me feel like the whole premise, like the whole thing, was less stupid of why the ghost didn't just fucking tell him.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, because what if the ghost was like, "I'm in here, asshole! I'm over here!"
And he's like,
That's how it
And he's like,
oh yeah, that weird.
She's like,
No,
no,
closer.
keep going.
anybody else got one?
She reached out her hand to touch it, and she just pushed him into the basement like, "It's down there, idiot."
Okay, that is the end of Meet Your Monsters for this week. We're going to go eat some fucking food because I'm hungry.
Hi, Puppy. I
What's
want to
that?
say hi to Jack every time.
Oh, hey, Jack.
Pupper.
To my friend, thanks to my friends for hanging out. That's you guys. And thanks to you at home for listening. If you want to follow along, next week's movie will be Annabelle.
Woo.
See you then.
Uh,